What's the deal, YouTube? It's your boy Motivational Wills. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, Deep in the Trap. And today, we at Agnew's Farm Equipment. And we're gonna sit down with Mr. John Agnew himself and show you how to build a business that lasts decades. Let's get to it. 2 steps to keep where you ain't stressing, where you ain't overwhelmed. All right, so we got Mr. John Agnew himself, the owner of Agnew's Farm Equipment. And before we get into the video, don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe. How you doing, Mr. John?
Hey, I'm doing all right.
You doing all right? Thanks again for the time. Thanks again for giving me the opportunity to sit down with you, first of all, okay?
My pleasure.
Tell everybody where you're from and where you grew up.
Oh, I grew up right here on the farm here in Boardman. Maybe 30 feet south of my present building.
30 feet? You said 30 feet present. Okay. What was it like being a young John Agnew?
Oh, it was interesting growing up on the farm here. And Agnew Farm Equipment was one of our businesses and livestock was another. And so it was my job since I was, 5 years old, to get up at 5:30 in the morning and gather the hen's eggs and take them over to my grandma's. And you just got used to getting up early in the morning, and after you come home from school, working on the farm until the sun goes down.
So yeah, he's been at it for a while, y'all. Listen, this is gonna be probably one of the best videos, or best interviews that I do, I promise y'all. The stories is gonna be endless, I promise you. Okay, so let's talk about when you was first introduced to entrepreneurship and what age?
Oh gosh, probably when I was maybe 10 or 11 years old, and I worked at the Agnew Farm Equipment building, which was about 300 feet north of my present building. And that building was built, maybe 1914. And before that, the building was about right here. And that building was built during the Civil War.
Wow. Okay, so when you said you was working at about 10 or 11, what exactly was you doing? Was you just doing like little simple stuff, or what was you doing?
Oh, just mechanics helper and helping with parts, sharpening chains and
okay,
usual stuff.
Right, okay. Now that's not the usual stuff for the average kid. That's not the usual stuff is playing and riding bikes around that age. You was, like I said, doing something different, which is the reason why you still here today, right? Okay, so let's talk about what does it take to scale a business to this size?
Oh gosh, I came back into the country about 30 years ago to help out for a few months and realized that it was too much for my dad and uncles. And my one uncle had had a stroke and the other uncle had had a heart attack. And my dad and his 2 brothers ran Agnew Farm Equipment at the time, and a couple of other businesses here in Boardman. So my couple of months of helping out turned into the next 30 years of building a new building here and selling off a chunk of the farm and just building the business up. So
pretty much when you took over, you came in with a different vision, and you said you needed to change everything up, huh?
Right. The building, the old building was built in 1914, I think, and it was in bad shape. And then they used our old barn for storage and so forth, and it was in bad shape. And so I worked out a like-kind trade so that we exchanged more land and worthless buildings for less land and a nice new building.
Wow. That's a good one. So sometimes you might got to sacrifice something in order to get something. But see, some people don't understand that though, Mr. John. That like basically what you did was you knew that you was taking something a little less, but you understood down the road like the bigger picture. Like talk about the mindset behind that.
The what?
Talk about the mindset behind that.
Oh, the mindset. I had a business in Columbus, and I had built that up, and so I used the same kind of strategy to build this business up here. The biggest part was finding really qualified people as mechanics and office assistants and so forth.
Okay. You want to put a chair up or you good? You good?
Oh, no, I'm
okay.
good.
Okay, I was just making sure. All right. Talk about what makes a business successful and what gives it that heartbeat to drive.
Okay, the biggest part of our business is customer service, and we work on a lot of implements that other people won't work on, and that gives me the knowledge of, who makes what equipment and so forth to pick the best to sell. And we've also worked with a 10% add-on to our cost, and we buy in large quantities, so our costs are low. And at the 10% markup, we're very competitive in all of our lines. We tend to sell a lot of equipment, and then we're able to sell parts for the equipment, oil change, oil filters, and so forth, and that keeps us alive over the winter time.
So you got to be able to diverse, and first and foremost, you got to treat your client, or I like to call them clients. Yeah. You got to treat your clients with the utmost. Before you make any money, before you buy any product, before you offer any service, the client need to be the forefront of any business that you try to start.
Right, and we try to find out the type of equipment that will fit that client the best. Sometimes they'll have in mind something, and you realize that they need a little bigger deck than they thought they needed, or a little smaller deck, and so forth. And working with the customer, we're able to find out, what they really need and get them the best deal on that particular unit.
You're giving it to. I hope y'all right. I hope y'all taking notes. Okay, you ready for the next one? All right. The process behind the decision making before you make a big investment.
Ooh. I tend to be very conservative that way, and try to find out as much as possible before I move into another phase and a different product and so forth. And I'll tend to spend maybe 4 or 5 years looking at a product before and taking it apart and seeing how well it lasts and so forth before I move into that product line. And it's just, I think, something that grew up on the farm with me, that you just tended to want to do what's right, even if it takes a while.
Wow. So basically he said before he even make an investment, sometimes he might sit on it for 4 to 5 years to mess around with it, play around with it, find out more details. Like he want to get down to the nitty gritty. He want to cross all his T's and dot all his I's before he say, give him that green light to go ahead and make that investment. That's good. That's good. That just taught me something for before. So before I make an investment, to take a little bit more time instead of
time. Yeah.
Don't rush it. Don't rush the process.
Right, and it's always worked for the Agnew family, and I'm the 5th generation here, and I have 5 kids, and so maybe the next will come along. And
wow. Talk about your roles today in the business.
My role today is our accountant has retired, but he still does a lot of work for us. And so I tend to do a lot of the accounting, a lot of the sales, working with people to find out what they really need. And probably the hardest job is finding people that are really dedicated and really competent to work at the company here. And
Like the girls.
I've been very lucky finding the right people.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. Yeah. So pretty much, we talked to all your staff, and everybody's been here. I think Taylor's been the one who's been here the least amount of time, with 3.5 years. But everybody that's a part of his family has been here for years. So that speaks a lot in itself right there, because a lot of companies have a lot of retention with hiring and firing. They get them in, but they get them in as fast as they go.
Yeah, and we've lost people in the past that a lot of people have become very successful. We send them to school to learn new things and so forth, and it's just part of our business that if somebody is able to advance to the point where they have to leave us, then so be it. But like I say, the people that we have are very long-term, very dedicated, and just very, very competent.
Yes, sir. Let's talk about marketing and how you drive customers through the doors.
Okay, we used to do a lot of radio, and lately it's been more television, in that we've always had ads in the Youngstown Vindicator. I think we've had ads in the Farm and Dairy for 160 years now.
Wow.
And TV, I think, lets you get across to the people your sincerity and how they're going to approach the purchase of new equipment and so forth. So, plus it gets to a lot of people over the area that we cover.
So if you're looking to start a business or like this, where you want to sell equipment or parts, that's one way that you could do some marketing, is to run some ads, some commercial ads on TV. Other ways, Mr. John probably don't do it, but you could run Facebook ads. You got Instagram, and you got a few different Google ads. Google ads. Yeah, you on Google?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Google ads. So you got a few different ways that you can do your marketing campaign as far as getting people in the doors.
Yeah, and we keep a very good presence on Facebook, our website, and so forth, and just try to display as much equipment as possible and give people a chance when they're sitting at home to find out what's going on.
Right. All right, so now, Mr. John, we're going to move around a little bit, all right? So we're going to get into sales. We're going to get into some of the equipment that you sell. And we want to show the people some of the different equipment, but we want to show them like the differences. Like the difference maybe between like a commercial and a residential, or the difference between like a high-end weed whacker and a low, just some of them, maybe like some of the basics just to get started. The Aaron's was my first lawnmower that I bought from him in 2020 or 21. But this was the first lawnmower I bought from him. Was the Aaron. It was a 52-inch. I don't know exactly what kind it was, but it was 52 inch though.
And a number of years ago, the Aaron's family bought Gravely. So for a while they had cheap Aaron's, and then they had copies of the Gravely. And I've always liked the Gravely equipment. And so we specify that we will only buy the Aaron's that are made at the Gravely factory with the Gravely okayed transmissions and the thick deck and cast iron lined engines and so forth. And we've just been very successful by buying in a quantity big enough that we can have lower prices than most of the big box stores, and also then sell a product that we know is going to last for years and years.
My errands, like I said, I bought it in either 2020 or 21. I just got rid of it, and it was still working. It was just I just needed room. So and it wasn't even as big as these. So matter of fact, let's talk about that, Mr. John. Tell me the difference between, because for most people that don't know, this looked more like a commercial piece of equipment, and this looked more residential. So can you tell me the difference and talk about the motors and price differences and whatnot?
Okay. In general, you'll find that the commercial equipment will have a roll bar and also or a method to put a roll bar on it.
Right.
In that OSHA requires a lot of landscapers to have the rollover protection on the unit. Although the Apex is actually the same as the Gravely HD, and the Zenith then is a deluxe version of the Apex, and very similar to the that'd be the Pro-Turn series of the Gravely. And it's just it's up to me to pick units that I know are going to last, and that's why I tend to get units with American-made engines, American-made transmissions, a deck that you can run into something and not hurt and dent it. And I insist on very thick frames, a suspension that will let you mow for a longer period of time and still be able to walk afterwards.
So speaking of that, and which I had to learn that too, once you get into like you said, the heavier equipment, the bigger equipment, you get better suspensions. And with the better suspensions, is so for me, for instance, we mow a lot of fields and stuff, so it comes with a lot of potholes, a lot of bumps and whatnot. And if you don't got a great suspension, by the time you get done, either your bottom or your back could be hurting. But whether you got a better suspension, you got less of that wear and tear on your body.
Yeah, the ultimate in suspension is the Ferris mower.
Let's go look at it.
With the four-wheel independent coilover shock suspension.
So I done had the errands. I have a couple of Gravely's now. I have a 48 and a 52, and I also have, I'm not sure exactly what Ferris it is, but
because a lot of makes have begun to copy the suspension system, like the Gravely Pro-Turn series now has a suspension seat and a suspension on the front similar to the coilover shock that the Ferris has. So on the bigger Gravely's, I only sell those with the super suspension air ride seat and so forth that I know people can be on, because if you're buying a mower with a 60 or 72 inch deck, probably you're going to be on it for a long time. And with the air ride and suspension seat system and the larger wheels, you tend to be much more comfortable over the long term.
So y'all see how he's very strategic. He said only, so that means he's very strategic about the equipment that he purchased it before he put it on the showroom floor. What was it that you were trying to show us about the Ferris though?
Oh, the Ferris has the the four-wheel coilover shock suspension. And when Dane Skagg had sold out his company, he designed the Ferris mowers. And it was the Ferris, one of the Ferris children, who said, you know, that's fine, but this pasture land. And so he literally took the shock absorbers off of an old Ford F-150 and worked them into the Ferrises. And that was, oh gosh, in the early 80s. And since then, Ferris has developed into a unit that a person can go out and mow all day with, or mow large acreage with, and still be able to walk in the evening. And what's more, for a lot of landscapers, they can go faster because otherwise they seem to be bumping too much and scalping. And with the Ferris, the deck is going to stay level as the wheels do the up and down. So that works. It works extremely well. And I suspect, I don't know for sure, but I think that we are probably the largest Ferris dealer in Ohio, because we buy in a great quantity.
Yeah.
And so we buy for less, and with our 10% markup on price, we're very competitive compared to the average Ferris dealer. So we sell a lot.
Right. What would you say your most popular, like, far as between like the Ferris and the Grade? Which one you seem to see go the fastest, or the most clients come in and they recommend?
It's about 50-50. We have about 70 landscapers that we supply equipment to, and at least 30 of the landscapers won't even look at anything but a Gravely, because that's what they've used for 40 years. They rely on the equipment. And now that Gravely is adding a suspension system to their units, that their popularity has come back. But still, we sell an awful lot of Ferrises because of its #1 rating and the fact that the Ferris is very big on using American-made stuff, parts and so forth. They're very big on having grease fittings on everything that's greasable, and they're just a proper manufacturer.
Okay. All right, so let's talk about weed whackers for people because I'm just now learning. We're not gonna say just now. I'm pretty much learned that you get different weed whackers for different. Like, you got, if you cutting something low or weed whacking something low, you want a specific weed whacker versus when you weed whacking something high. So let's show them them specific weed whackers and let's talk about the differences real quick.
Well, we sold steel for a number of years, and we had a very large contract with a local guy who owned 400 shopping malls. And so that was a big contract, and they canceled the contract. And at the time, my cousin switched them over to Shindawa, which they have bought ever since. Well, Shindawa was bought by Echo because Shindawa was made in the U.S. and they were extremely well made in the U.S. And when Echo did that, they pretty much changed all of their lines over to the Shindawa. The only difference between them now is a different color of the unit. But when they did that, their warranty went from 2 years to 5 years, which was great. And people buy it. They're easy to start because they have double ring pistons, chrome liners on the pistons, and they're just built extremely well. And People like them to start easily, and they now have a whole line of battery-operated units, but they're built with the same shaft and so forth that the gasoline units are built with, and they all of the attachments that go onto the gasoline echoes fit onto the electric echoes. So it's nice to have something you don't have to pull to start, but with the Echo gasoline engines, two pulls and it's started. So
right. So let's talk about parts. What's the most common parts I sold?
the most common parts are, well, it's a split between belts and blades, and we only sell Kevlar belts, and so they tend to.
You got some of those belts back there?
Yeah.
Can we go see them?
Oh. Yeah, we have literally thousands of belts in stock. We only display about 100 different sizes in the showroom, but we are very adamant about Kevlar in the belts, and that they last probably 5 times as long as nylon belts. And a lot of manufacturers, in order to save money, will have a nylon belt, and we sell a Kevlar replacement for them. And then, you know, we don't have to see them for another 7 years while the belt still stays on and lasts. So that and blades, we're also very picky about mower deck blades. Okay. And we, just from experience, we found out, you know, Stens makes some very good blades, Rotary makes some very good blades, and so forth. And we learn which blades, over the years, we've learned which blades last the longest, and then we're able to stock. And we stock, probably more than 1,000 belts and more than 1,000 blades. So chances are, when a customer comes in, we can put him in a proper belt or blade for his unit.
So for somebody watching that like I said, may want to start a business like this, how important is it for you to have not only the equipment for somebody, but also have the parts?
Oh, you have to have a great stock of parts, because even though, you know, you'll think that everything is going to last forever, sooner or later you're going to need bearings, or a grease fitting, or a belt, or a filter, and so forth. And we maintain a huge quantity of parts, generally $700,000 to $800,000 worth of parts here, so that you know, we can meet people's needs. And also, a lot of times people will have an off-brand unit, and the fact that we can get them back on the road, it makes them a lasting customer, and eventually they'll buy the units we sell. So it works out.
Hope y'all writing these notes down, man. He dropping bombs. He's definitely dropping bombs. Okay. So we also got a service department. Right?
Yes.
So let's talk about that. How many mowers and stuff are we fixing today, and what's the hourly rate and delivery?
Okay, we do have pickup and delivery, and I think at $89 round trip, we're probably the lowest in the area for pickup and delivery. Our labor rate is $89 an hour, and for that you get a real hour's labor. You know, it's not, you know, hour charged for a 30-minute job. It's, you know, if it's a 30 minutes job, you get charged 30 minutes for the labor. The mechanics will work on a pro-rata base, and so they're encouraged to get things done, move on to the next thing. So over the winter time, we'll do probably 400 or 500 tune-up specials where we pick up the unit, sharpen the blades, clean the deck, change all the filters, change the oil and so forth, and get it all ready for the next year. And also at the same time, we'll find out if there was, you know, maybe a oil leak in the unit somewhere, or you know, something that may go wrong. And so we try to do our tune-up specials, and so the person is going to have the whole year of mowing and not worry about it.
So I see why you say so competitive and how you beating the competition.
Like, share, comment, subscribe.
All right, tell us your name and tell us, how did you get started working with Mr. John?
Rayanne. I started for John out of high school, and yeah, just somebody I knew worked here, and they got me a job, and then I've been here for, you know, the last 8 years.
I was about to ask you, how long was you here? You said 8 years?
My name is Taylor, and Rayanne is actually the one that introduced me to Mr. John and got me my job here, and I've been here for the last 3.5 years.
Good. Okay. Tell me what's your roles that you play in the business.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Tell us your roles that you play in the business. What exactly that you do?
I do the financing, I do sales, I'm the office manager, I do the warranties, phone calls, customers.
And I pretty much handle the schedule. I take care of parts, incoming, outgoing, parts ordering, putting stuff away, answering calls, pretty much just every day helping customers.
Good. Okay. So how does Mr. John inspire you to keep you motivated?
So John always shows gratitude to all of his employees and lets you know that you are part of a team, but not just a team, a family. John has helped me both in my career and in my personal life a lot. I view him as a family member, and you couldn't ask for a better guy to be your boss, honestly.
Yeah, John inspires me because, you know, you don't see a lot of bosses that, like, they actually show up every single day and put in the work every single day, and John does. And, you know, like, you know something's seriously wrong if you don't see John here.
Right.
And he just, like, no matter what, like, if you're down, like, it doesn't matter if he's your boss or not, like, he understands, and he just tries to help you out through no matter what.
Really has came like a father figure to me.
Yeah.
And that's the experiences I have with him. And I don't work here, but I'm one of his
Yeah, he's the best.
clients. And yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I
the
will
experience.
say, like, after my dad died, like, John was really there to, like, pick up a lot of the stuff that I wasn't able to at the time, and it's, like, really understanding of everything, and gives me more life advice than anybody has ever given me, and he's incredibly smart, so that's the guy you want the life advice from.
Would you say he's somebody that you go to, like, when you down, or somebody you could talk to when you can't go to nobody else?
Yep, me and John have a lot of heart-to-hearts, you know. I sit in his office, and he really points me in directions, and when I feel like I'm lost and I don't know what I'm doing, he's always there to talk me through it, whether it's work-related, personal-related, finance-related. He's always there to kind of give me the advice that, like, I don't have a dad to give me, you know? So, and I've always really appreciated that.
Yeah, no matter what the question is, you know John's door is always open.
Mm-hmm. So this is an off question. Tell us, how do you guys know each other, and how long you been knowing each other?
So we actually met through a mutual friend that we used to have when we were probably about 10. And then throughout the years, you know, we developed a really good friendship that ended up actually turning into like I'm closer with her than I am to anybody in my family. And so, you know, here we are 15 years later and, you know.
Not much has changed.
Yeah.
All right. You want to add anything to that, Taylor?
No, I think that pretty much sums it up. Yeah, like she's the sister I never had. She really is.
Okay. All right. So last question. This is a good one. Where would you guys like to see the company in the next 5 years?
I would like to see it to where John is actually getting to go back out and sail and, you know, like collect the money, but be able to actually enjoy his life. And, you know, we do pretty well here just through and through. So if, you know, we could see a little bit of growth every year, that would be incredible. But to see John actually be able to get out and do what he wants to be doing rather than, you know, being stuck here. And I know that he has to take care of his wife and everything, but I would like to see him not just live, but actually live.
Live a life.
Yeah, be happy and, you know, still be able to collect some money, but also get to do the things that he enjoys rather than being stuck in an office all day.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that statement as far as like within, you know, as far as growth goes, yes, but definitely, you know, just seeing John like do what he wants to do. Like, yeah, he loves it here and you could tell he loves it here. But, you know, he has put in so many hard years of work. He deserves to be able to, you know, retire and take full advantage of it.
You know how you see some people like talk about like their kid and like their face just lights up? Like that's
Right.
John in a sailboat. Like you could just see how happy it makes him. And if you go down and visit him on the boat, like it's a whole different, like John's always happy, but like you get to see like a kid in a candy shop. You know, I'd like to see him get to do that full time rather than just one day a week.
Yeah, I mean, since I've been here, pretty much John's just kind of like been getting us ready for when that time does come, you know, like every ounce of knowledge I have learned from like being here, I've learned from him. And, you know, when I came into like working at Ag News, I didn't know anything about lawnmowers. And so like, I'd like to think that I've come a long way since then.
All right. So I know I said one more question, but I just thought about something. For the people that's watching, right? And you might get somebody that's trying to run an office or for a business of this magnitude. Like, give us maybe 1 or 2 steps to keep where you ain't stressing, where you ain't overwhelmed, where you keeping everything.
Always take everything with a grain of salt. When people are angry and yelling, typically it's not about what they're not really angry about the situation that's going on. It's just there's things in their life that they're mad about and other circumstances, and you have to kind of just be understanding and take everything with a grain of salt. You truthfully just don't know what people have going on in their own lives, and a lot of times if you let someone just yell at you, by the end of the conversation they will be copacetic, they will be level-headed, and they'll, you know, typically apologize for their behavior. So take everything with a grain of salt, and also with that is treat people the way you want to be treated and hope for the best. Organization is a big part of running an office, and, you know, things, especially in this industry, there are times a year where things get very disorganized and crazy because it's the busy season. You know, there's hundreds of people coming in and out a day, but organization is important, attitude is important, and, you know, always try to remember that, you know, like you can be efficient and you can be good, but you can't always push things out as fast as you possibly can. That is where mistakes happen. So.
Yeah, and just to add on to that a little bit, organization definitely, you know, like I would say like if I wasn't slightly OCD and as organized as I am, it would be chaos. It would absolutely be chaos trying to keep up with everything. But on top of that, like, you know, like when you get busy, like she was saying in the busy season, you know, like it's just 2 of us here. You got to take things one thing at a time. Don't try to bombard yourself and overburden yourself, because all that's going to do is burn you out and stress you out in the long run of things.
Prioritize.
Yes. You have to prioritize and just make sure, you know, like you're taking it one step at a time. Don't overwhelm yourself, because that's where you're going to make mistakes.
That's good. Well, they gave y'all like 4 or 5 extra steps, so I hope y'all taking notes. Good job. Good job. Y'all did great. Y'all did great. Thank you. All right, so before we get back into the video, hit that notification bell. That way you notify every time I drop a video. And also, don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe. That helps with the YouTube algorithm, and that also helps us keep bringing on guests like Mr. John Agnews himself, so we can help keep teaching you guys how to start and grow your businesses. So how important is it to build relationships with your suppliers?
Oh, extremely important in that you have to bargain with suppliers, and if you're buying, $1 million or $2 million worth of their equipment, you can bargain with them and get the free shipping and units at a lower price, and we buy by the truckload, which is always a lower price and so forth. What's more, they tend to treat us better for getting parts, and parts availability over the last 3 years has been tough.
Right.
Because there are at least a couple of hundred suppliers for every equipment manufacturer, and all it takes is one supplier of filters or of transmissions and so forth to be behind, and we're out of equipment.
that easy, huh? So y'all see how important it is for you to keep relationships. Also, when you're doing business or anything you do, you should be making sure that you have valuable relationships. Not only making sure they add value to you, but you also want to make sure you add value to them, right, Mr. John?
Yes.
So that's important. For you, Mr. John, not only do I know you from, buying equipment from you, but like we talk a lot about personal stuff. We go out to eat and whatnot. But so it's not about just making money for you. So what actually motivates you to keep you?
Well, when I first came back, 30 some years ago, to help out for a few months, and I was just very comfortable being here on the farm that I had grown up on, even though the farm is now car dealerships and hundreds of houses, Boardman High School, Boardman Middle School, the Barlow Corporation, and so forth. I just felt at home, and plus it gave me the chance to be a dad, to raise my family in a not exactly a farm atmosphere, but a farm-like atmosphere where the kids could pick up on, I've got to do something besides school. I've,
Right.
learn things and so forth. So to me, it's been a very rewarding experience to build the equipment company up and dealing with thousands of customers that I've grown to, know their families and their situations and so forth. And to me, it was very interesting.
Good, Mr. John. That's a good one. All right, I got one for you. Give us 3 steps. 3 steps to build a successful business from your own perspective.
Okay, the first thing is to find out everything that you can about the nature of the business, what you're selling, what you're doing for people, and so forth. And that's the first step. The second step is to start to put that into place and spare no expense, and make sure that you are in line with the competition and so forth. And the third step is to, as you develop a customer base, treat them very well. And every customer is a part of your livelihood. And so you have to view them as an integral part of your company. So you bring them in to be a part of your company. And the third step is just keep working at that. Don't downgrade a customer, because he doesn't know what a hydrostatic drive is and so forth.
Right.
You teach constantly, and those three things have worked for us extremely well. So
There you go. That's three. That man. I told y'all this is gonna be probably one of the best interviews right here. You're gonna learn a lot from this. And like I said, we gonna give y'all decades of knowledge. This is somebody who's been in the business. Like I said, it's the 5th generation. So hope y'all taking notes. Like I said, I keep saying it because that's important. So let's talk about what it takes to operate a business this magnitude, like daily operations, expenses, insurance, and overhead.
yeah, you basically want to keep your overhead down by constantly looking at insurance costs and electric costs and so forth. Um, it's just very important to do a reasonable amount of your own accounting, and so you know where the money is going and where it's coming from, and if you have that on your mind all the time, then you tend to be more and more successful because you know what something costs, and you basically tell yourself, how am I going to use that to make more money? And virtually everything in this office was bought or added to with the idea that, this is going to help the business. This is going to make us some money. Or in terms of the safe, which we've had that since the Civil War,
Oh wow.
that safe is burglar proof. It's, there's no way somebody's going to get that apart. And there's also...
Wow. It don't even make no noise when you mess with the.
And there's also new electronic equipment that, the camera system here watches over everything. It lets me know if something was moved inappropriately. We're at a good location, so the police can use this as a lookout for all of the car dealers along Market Street. And because when my dad built his house here that I grew up in, he chose the largest or the highest elevation of the farm to build the house on, and that's where I built this building. So it kind of looks over the whole up and down Market Street and so forth, and so it becomes a good spot. And also with the electronic ignition with a dozen different cameras, I can anytime the motion detector goes off and see, oh well, that was a woodchuck or something.
Mm-hmm. How were you able to sustain through? Well, this is a good one right here. I like this question. How are you able to sustain through pandemics and economic downturns?
Oh, I think I learned quite a lesson by going over what the equipment company did during the Great Depression of 1929.
Wow.
And succeeding, through World War One and World War Two, the Cuban crisis and so forth. I was able to be a part of that history and look back and see what my father, grandfather, and great grandfather did and how they handled things, and that was just invaluable. Just to see. So when the pandemic came around, we were able to stock up on a good amount of equipment that got us through most of the pandemic, and there's still some problems in getting some stuff, but generally, I think most of the manufacturers would look and treat as favorites the people who bought a lot of stuff from them, and we were able to build on that. Um, the the pandemic was oh gosh, I read about the smallpox pandemic and so forth, and this is our 200th year in operation. The Agnew family has been in this same location for 200 years now, and it's helped me quite a bit to look back and read the reflections of my father, grandfather, great grandfather, great great grandfather, and so forth, and just to see how they handled things.
Left a footprint for you.
Yeah.
The ways you pivot during the slower seasons.
Well, during the peak season, you just are at it, 8 to 10 hours a day, maybe sometimes 12 hours a day. Keep your staff going, and during the off season, going back and reflecting and cleaning up the office and recategorizing parts and so forth. And during the season, you put customers first, and if you have to order an inordinate amount of things for them, you just do it because the customer is what feeds you. So then during the off season, we always plan on doing a lot of tune-up specials, cleaning up, recategorizing things, and make it kind of more fun for the employees to, say, okay, you want a week's paid vacation or 2 weeks paid vacation, that's fine. We're not that busy.
Right.
So, with our limited staffing, we have to all go full throttle during the season, March through October, and then November through February we can
Relax.
go back and do the housekeeping.
Right. That's good. All right. So we got like 2 or 3 more questions, and then we wrapping it up. All right. So talk about some of the challenges that comes with owning a business this size.
I think the biggest challenge is keeping up with governmental regulations and so forth. We were caught during 2020 with the beginning of the pandemic. We followed the instructions of the federal form 941 to the letter. Each one just, followed the instructions. And then, almost 3 years later, we got a note from the IRS. Well, you did follow the instructions, but we revised that in the small print of page 14, and you were only allowed to use 2 of the 4 quarters for that year for for discrepancies. And I was like, oh, okay. And so you learn, and then I think it cost us $30-some thousand that we had to give back to the IRS. But you treat the IRS with utmost respect because these people are getting money for the country we love. And, you didn't tell us that the instructions were rewritten on page 14 and so forth and so forth. But you just follow the rules and do it. And so our computer system keeps track of all of our sales, and the sales tax and everything is, it's much easier if you just follow all the rules and pay the correct taxes. And like I say, just respect the fact that the state of Ohio has its bureaucracy, the federal government has its bureaucracy, and you just you go along with them.
You told me something something I wasn't hip to, so I just learned something too. All right, so where do you see Agnew's farm equipment in the next 5 years?
Oh, the next 5 years is not going to be much different, and I plan on being here for another 10 years. So, as a matter of fact, I went to the Cleveland Clinic the other day, spent all day having tests, and the final word from the doctor was, "I'll see you in 20 years." And I said, I'll be 98 in 20 years. He says, "Yeah, I'll see you then." I said, "Well, I'm going to get to 88 and, move back on a boat." And
That's true. That's what you're gonna do?
yep,
Back on the boat. Wow. You and the wife, huh? Rest of the life on the boat.
yep. And uh, probably the best years of my life were living on the boat, sailing around the world, and just meeting every challenge and seeing the world as it is. And I do have to admit that my job in St. Thomas in the Virgin Islands was difficult. There were 400 boats in and out of the harbor every day, and some of them, like Navy ships and so forth, would come in at 2 or 3 in the morning, and you have to get up and make sure they were tied up and so forth. And it was a hard job. So when I got the call from my father to come out and help for a little bit, I was a little relieved. That this was paradise, and the weather, everything. The people of St. Thomas are the best.
This St. Thomas right here?
Hmm.
Oh, okay.
And I can't say enough about. I had between the marina and the hotel, over 200 employees there, and loved every one of them. Just yes, and it was good. It was good money, but it was hard on you. It was a lot of work, and when I came back, let's see, my dad and uncles had, I think, 4 corporations. Well, I sold off 3 of them and kept Agnew Farm Equipment. And so I'm just going to concentrate on making Agnew Farm Equipment the best that I can. And Agnew Enterprises and Agnew Brothers and Agnew Real Estate is just going to have to be somebody else's worry.
Right, got you. Oh, wow. Now you got it already mapped out. See, a lot of people don't know exactly what they want to do. At least you got an exit plan. Hopefully you can exit sooner than that, though.
Yeah, actually, I had a business in Columbus, Ohio, which I sold out of in 1979, and retired then, moved on to the boat. And I remember my staff there, I told them months in advance, and every chance I got, I said, I'm leaving at the beginning of 1979, and I won't be back. And they said, "Oh, sure, sure, yeah." And when I finally did leave, they said, "John, where are you?" I said, I'm on my way to the Virgin Islands in a boat, sailboat. Oh, because I pretty much just gave over the company to the employees, and just like the company here, I could turn it over to the employees tomorrow, and they would do a bang up job of running everything. It's just that I like to keep the accounting separate, and I think over the years I've built an ability to hire really good people and see through
That's important.
some
That's
of
key.
them. Yep. And been lucky. There have been a few misses, but overall, like I think Tom's been here for 30 years, and let's see, I think the least amount of time for a present employee is 4 or 5 years. So you have to treat employees extremely well, polite, uh, pay them as much as you can, and still keep the business solvent. And if you do that, in return, your employees are going to really help the company, and if they feel they're part of it.
I was about to say that. You got to get them something to believe in, make them feel like they're part of something, make them feel like they're part of the mission, make them feel like they're part of the goals.
Yes.
And not only that, they don't want to be like, this is one of the things I talk to about with with my staff. So, like, I always tell them, like, I don't only want you to help me, or help the company accomplish our goals. I want to help you accomplish your goals. And as long as your goals and the company goals align with each other, then we gonna go.
Yep.
Yeah. So I agree with that too.
All right.
And another thing too, I add on to that too, is like, that comes with knowing how to put the right people in the right place.
Mm-hmm.
Like, cause a lot of people just hire people to fill spots, and it's just like, now you just basically putting Legos on top of Legos. But them Legos, the reason that's gonna fall is because them ain't in the right place. But you put your peoples in the right place, put them in the right position, get them the right tools, get them the right resources, get them the right information, and like you said, they could drive the business without the owner.
And I can see why you have been so successful. And believe me, I've seen hundreds of landscapers come and go, and you are probably the most successful business entrepreneur that I have ever witnessed in all my years of being back. And kudos to you and your staff.
Thank you.
That have just been phenomenal.
I appreciate you for the smile. Thank you. Thank you. All right, so we got one more question, Mr. John. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
What does trust, relationships, accountability principles mean to you? Trust, relationships, accountability principles.
Okay. Trust is very, very important. But in order to have trust, you have to have employees that you can trust in. The economics of the country, you can't trust. It's going to up and down, change, and so forth. But when a customer comes in, first in your mind is, can this customer trust me? Will I do the best for them? Let's see, and what are the other?
Relationships.
Also, it's a matter of relationship with a customer is such that you can get them to trust you, to be truthful and explain everything that's going on. you know, if a mower is not worth fixing, just be upfront and say, hey, you know, you're going to put $1,000 into this now, and next year you'll put another 1,000, and next year another 1,000. Don't do it.
Right.
You know, and eventually the customer will learn that, oh yeah, that was good. That was good advice.
All right, accountability.
And accountability is another part of the same facet that you have to buy things that are going to last, sell things that are going to last, and cherish accountability in that people will hold you accountable for things that if you say you're going to do something, do that. You know, if you say that a unit is going to go out and last 10 years, have enough experience behind you that people will hold you accountable for that, and say, hey, you told me this would last for 10 years and it only lasted for 3. That's unacceptable.
That's unacceptable.
You have to be accountable in your thing, and also you have to be accountable to the federal government, the state government, the local government, and make sure that you cross all the T's and dot all the I's and treat them. Cheaters never win, and cheaters never prosper, and you have to be straightforward and accountable for your actions and deeds. Every report that you have, go over it and over it and over it again, and make sure that everything is right.
So he answered all of that pretty much all in one, pretty much. Again, Mr. John, thank you for your time.
Oh,
this was wonderful. Like, I learned a lot. I know they learned a lot. Tell everybody where you located, and I don't know the exact address, but just for the people that's, you know, maybe willing to say, hey, I might want to go check this guy out and buy some equipment from him. Let them know where they can get in touch with you, location, and what days you open.
Okay, we're at 7700 Market Street, next to all the car dealers.
Volkswagen, Kia, BMW.
Yeah. On Market Street, we have a building out that in front, it doesn't look very big, but it's 400 and some feet long. So we're able to store a lot of equipment and have a huge area for our mechanics and so forth. We're open daily 8:30 until 5, except Saturday 8:30 till 2, and of course closed on Sunday. That's a day that no business should be open.
Right. All right, well, you heard it from the man himself, Mr. John Agnew. Like I said, we're going to really, like he just showed you step by step what to do to build a business that lasts decades. Again, listen, one more thing I want to add. This is probably one of the best guys. When I say, I'm not just saying this because it's on camera or none of that, but this is one of probably the best. If you really want to go get some equipment that's reliable and deal with somebody that you could trust, deal with somebody that's not going to try to get over on you, somebody you can build a relationship with, come to Agnew's Farm Equipment. Would you say 7700 Market Street? And ask for Mr. John. Well, you can talk to the girls, but if you have any questions that the girls can ask, ask for Mr. John. Tell them I sent you.
Or go to agnewfarm.com.
Or go to agnewsfarmequipment.com. Now, on Agnew's Farm Equipment, I'm going to give y'all a little secret before y'all get there. Now, on the equipment, like far as to like the big stuff he was showing y'all, there's no price on it. You either got to call in or come in the store to get the prices. But everything that's on the store, you can see it on the website.
Yeah, we were forbidden to put our prices because most dealers have a 15 to 25% markup, and our 10% markup, we just weren't allowed to put the prices on our thing. As a matter of fact, 3 of our manufacturers threatened to pull our ability to buy equipment if we continued to advertise that price. And so almost all of the equipment dealers have what they call a minimum advertised price, a MAP price. And if you try and advertise lower than that price, then they'll take away your dealership. So
That's probably how car dealerships run too, huh?
yes.
Got y'all another little gem. I got y'all another one.
Yep, and the way to handle it is just be completely truthful on the prices you put on the equipment here, but on TV, radio, newspaper, or even on your website, if your prices are lower than the minimum advertised price, you're not allowed to put them. So I think a lot of people think that, oh, they don't put the prices on because they're so high. Well, in our case, we're not allowed to put the price on because we're so low.
Man, again, man, listen, this was a banger. Thank you again. I learned some stuff that I didn't even know, which is always good. But again, thank you. Please come check Mr. John out. Ask Mr. John if y'all got any questions. Tell him I sent you. We'll catch up in the next video.